Oop. Okay. I wanted to make a very quick video um, talking a little bit about a technique that I have found useful of late. Um, and this is a continuation of Alion's uh, approach to Chud, and it's her kind of taking from Gestalt therapy and Jungian psychotherapy, which Gestalt therapy itself uh, comes from Jung. Fritz Perls is pulling away of some of the key concepts of Jung's work. And it's her westernized approach to Chud. If you are interested, Feeding Your Demons, that's the book. You can look that up. It's a very powerful technique if you actually do the real technique, if you actually get in the chairs and go through the whole process rather than just try to make it all mental. And so this is sort of a continuation on that, so that it's not just happening within that moment, so that you can use it throughout your day. Again, Dr. Morris's make your warrior walk your everyday walk. So enlightenment doesn't just happen on the Zafu, that's part of that. Um, I will say before I begin, this is probably the only technique that I will ever give that hasn't been properly field tested. Um, I've used it within myself uh, for a while, but not as long as I normally would before I give the technique, not for years, etc. Plus, I haven't brought in any guinea pigs to test it out on their consciousness and their own nervous system. So, but I've had good results, so I'm going to go ahead and pass this along. This works very well with cravings, especially food. As you know from previous videos, I do a lot of fasting. So every now and again, you'll run into this willpower thing, a breaking down of willpower. And if you've ever taken any of my theurgy and thaumaturgy classes, you know that I make a distinction between your ego's willpower, your personal willpower, and sort of we'll call it divine willpower or true will in the esoteric language. And there is a difference, okay? So personal willpower does tend to break down eventually. It uses up your own energy, etc. And this is a gentler way of working with this, but it may not work for everyone. So test it out. Let me know what you think. Send me some emails or some direct messages, etc. All right. And this works very well with cravings. So again, food, but also can be applied again to other situations. Basically anything where your will is breaking down and you have this urge to do something that might not be in your best interest. Okay. So eating, 50 bowls of ramen when you should be fasting for another, 20 hours or so. Or even just not having 50 bowls of ramen that day, which should be pretty much every day. All right. So when the craving comes up, and again, this could be, going back to earlier videos, could be useful for porn, even lust, masturbation, whatever. Whatever you're craving, in your imagination, imagine that you are fulfilling that craving. So again, if you're craving a giant bowl of ramen, imagine that you're eating that bowl of ramen. Okay? Within your own body, your own physical body, while you're imagining that, generate an intense feeling of not just love, but of being loved. Okay? So if something, whether it's a higher power or another person or whatever, it doesn't matter as long as you get this intense feeling of being loved. Okay? Now, within your imagination, imagine that the food or the act or whatever is being infused with that feeling, that intense feeling of being loved. Okay? And then within your imagination, you are fulfilling this craving, you're eating that ramen or whatever. imagine that that intense feeling is going to you within the imagination. So now you're bridging that gap between your physical self and the self in the imagination that's fulfilling that craving. And they are overcome with this intense feeling of being loved. Okay? And then focus more on the sense of being loved and that bridge that you've built rather than the food. It has been satisfied. You know, imagine that you feel loved and satisfied and you've received whatever you need that you were having that act in place of. Okay? And then check in with your feelings. You may need to do it again later, but more than likely, that craving will have subsided and you can go on with your life. Okay? So again, this was a very quick video. That's the technique. Try it out. Hopefully you can modify it for your own personal usage. And that's it. Have fun with it. Thank you very much.